Good morning, students. In today's lecture of your essentials of business communication, I'll be focusing upon another new aspect of your written communication, that is clarity in writing and principles of effective writing. So, like in my previous lecture, I have told you that written communication holds a greater importance in your life because the moment you write something, it is going to create a very positive impact in the mind of the person who is actually receiving your writing. Then you are going to say something by using your your words, and by using your oral communication. Though it is true that oral communication holds its own importance, but in your real life world, your written communication takes lots and lots of importance, and it holds a great importance in your particular life. To begin with, what exactly is create clarity in your writing? The purpose of concept of clarity in writing is to help students realize that what they can do to their own writing clear, concise, and ready to be read by others. Clarity in writing depends upon more on grammar. See, you have to be very particular about your grammar. Now, why are we into this habit that we have been taught grammar right from class 2 or and from there the learning of your grammar, learning of your noun, adjective, verbs, proverbs, punctuation marks, and all start beginning from from there only. So it is just because of the reason that we are being governed by a very so-called British type of pattern of English, wherein too type of emphasis is not being given on grammar itself, and it is a kind of a matter of fact that that your Americans or the people from America used to prefer writing a particular language by using grammar too much, and they are very particular about their grammar. But if the people from British and from the Britain origin, they are not too much too peculiar about their grammar and all. So, uh, but and just to have a kind of flavor of writing a correct English, you actually need to write a particular thing in a proper grammatical manner. So, what is clarity in writing? Clarity in writing is basically going to deal with how a particular person is going to write clearly by using his or her method of using grammar to the logical sequencing. However, grammatical slips can mar with otherwise be clearing in writing. Now, in his book Hodges Harbus handbook, it is clearly being mentioned that writing clearly, or actually writing it in a proper manner, it is going to involve lots and lots of patience and all. But if grammatical error is there, it is going to be taken for granted. It is to be taken for not for granted. You have to actually think that you have to write a particular thing in a particular or in a correct grammatical tone. If you bring clarity into the situation, you will help people to see what really is happening by clearing the misunderstanding. Because just by writing a particular word will not exactly do your thing. It is going to be clarity in writing also going to involve lots and lots of involvement towards your spellings and all. Like uh, I'm going to tell you that how a particular spelling can make a meaning into something very adverse and create a very disaster, and is going to create a great disaster for that particular thing. Importance of clarity in writing. Now, I will begin my example from here itself only. Once, a particular disciple of your Lord Buddha thought that he should go to the library and read the books of Buddha, and exactly going to find out that what Buddha needs to teach, and what was the way to lead a better life and all. He when found a particular scribbling, and he was reading that particular scribbling, Instantly, no sooner did he turn the page, he found something very, very disastrous, and he started banging his head onto a wall. All the people came for his help and just were astonished that why he was doing so. He was being taken to the infirmary, and he was being admitted over there, and it was being asked that what really happened. He told that in one of the scribbling, Buddha wrote, "Lead a life and celebrate." Now, the spelling of celebrate was wrong. Celebrate, and the correct spelling of celebrate is celebrate. The missing of that particular R has given the people a of life of begging and all, and leading a life of a beggar, or not of a beggar, but to actually ask for something food and now, and to and to live a life of sustenance. So, just by this, celebrate means to live life and be happy. Buddha, in his one of his book, has clearly mentioned live life and celebrate. But those who have actually incorporated that word, they have misspelled this particular word, and has written live life happily and celebrate. The word celebrate means to live a life of someone who actually begs and then eat the food. Now, similarly, uh, in the assassination of your Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it was being given a title just to drop a bomb and kill. So the concept of kill was not there; it was being implanted over there. So the particular language or clarity in language, if there's no clarity in language or clarity in writing, it is really going to create a hazardous effect. So you actually need to clarify something which involves in your writing procedure. Say for example, he is asking, they say I lack writing skills. Now what he is writing, they see I lacking skills and all, that is not clearly being written. So in this manner, if you are going to write something and text it or message it to the person, the person who's actually receiving the message won't be able to figure out that what you need to write. It's just like a prism effect. You all have seen a prism effect. The moment you pass a light, it splitters into your whip and all. In the similar manner, the moment you pass a particular writing through a medium of any kind, it is going to split into various type of ideology. Well, this strategy might not take you all the way without the help of few factors. Using formatting to emphasize the key points is a simple way to add clarity to your ideas, to your articles and all. Now, if you are actually formatting your writing, see, in formatting, it involves lots and lots of patience. It involves the thing that you actually need to communicate each and everything in at large, have to go through it again and again to do a peer review and all. So to actually signify that is there a mistake or something like that. Imagine for a minute a person has just arrived to your website. He or she know that you are talking about. He or she know that what you are talking about. He or she is an important customer. He or she has a relevant topic. He or she is interested in your content. You may all be excited now that now he or she is going to do something you like him or her to do. You want it, but in reality is harsh. Chances are, after looking at couple of pages, the person will exit from your site. He or she is a potential customer. He or she didn't buy the thing. He or she just looked around and go for like a freebie. Now, Uh, Basically, in this, what I need to tell you all is that when you are building your website or building something which is going to create, like I say, if you are writing a blog, write something that is of relevance. Most of you are in a habit, if you are in a habit of writing a blog, you take a topic, you decide upon the matter, and then you go on. Then, when you are writing the very first paragraph of your particular article or particular thing, try to remember, try to keep that who actually are reading. Say, for example, if you're writing something in fiction, don't mix the fiction with your personal life, because your personal life is something else and your fiction is something else. Fiction is which you are going to really think of. You are writing a story wherein you are saying that there is a concept of blue moon, there is a concept of two moons in the sky, there is a concept of fairies, there is a concept of goblins and all, and then you add your taste to it. The moment you add your flavor to it, remember that you are not a Shakespeare. Remember this thing, that you do not have the art of actually inculcating the habit of attracting more and more people. You are writing it, if you are writing for a very very first time, imagine the thing that those who are going to go to those who are actually going to look at those blogs of yours, what kind of perception will they develop? At times you see that there is a lots and lots of crowd on a particular blog, and at one blog there is not a single person. Why? The reason is that because he or she is has not actually realized that what the customer now wants. Say, for example, in this present scenario itself only, if you are writing something to boost your immunity, or if you are writing something to eradicate this particular COVID-19 pandemic, or if you're writing something the way to deal with the students life who are actually dealing problems in your online classes and all, so this thing is going to be read by the people. You have to be very very well versed with things that what is going on in at random, because the moment you deviate from the now, over here, if you are writing those kind of supernatural things and thrillers like that, though they will be successful, because there are some clients who are actually having a flavor for that, but not at large. Some of the importance of clarity of writing includes, unlike talking, when you write you look more sophisticated in words, expressions, and describe what is there in your mind. See, when you're talking at go. You're using your gestures, you're using your momentum, you're using your vocalic tones, your paralanguage and all. But the moment you are using your sophisticated words, this is going to create a powerful impact into the mind of the person. How? Because the moment he or she opens something and read it, it is going to give his or it is going to give the real picture of your particular soul or particular thing which is there in your mind. This helps to build a kind of a structure that will allow to express yourself better and to communicate the complex ideas. Most data said that if you are not able to express or say sorry or something like that, say for example, a very good friend of yours has been is being angry from you for a particular reason. It can be anything. And if you are not able to say sorry, because at times you say at times it happens that you are not in a mood, or you are not, you are having kind of a kind of a solidated attitude that I'm not going to say sorry and all. So it's better, but you still want that everything should go normal and all. So write it. If you are going to write it, the complexities of your mind is going to get washed away. Similarly, writing activities, the neurons in the brain get it ready to overcome the rest task of yours. In addition, writing down your tasks with appropriate words prepare you to carry out them properly. See, your brain is a very very interesting thing, because the moment you see something, your brain uh, capturate that particular thing. Say for example, you see a beautiful flower, You see a beautiful flower, a moment comes in your mind that what a beautiful flower, and you are being getting imaginative that I should have this kind of flower. I should be I should be giving this particular flower to any of my people or any of my loved ones and all. They will be very happy, or I should keep this flower with me itself as a kind of a momentum of my own. So these thoughts are going on in your mind. Now, the moment you write them, it will create, or it is going to create a kind of, you never know that you actually going to write something very interesting and all, but these kind of activities, you see something and then you relate that particular thing and then you write it. It becomes a habit. Remember that your writing skills is going to give your brain a very sharp edge. Uh, because the moment you keep everything in your brain, say for example, you have lots and lots of knowledge about a particular topic. It could be any topic, it could be a business communication, it could be your marketing and all, but you are keeping that particular thing in your brain. Now, when you are keeping that thing in your brain and keeping it for a very longer time, say for example 2 to 3 years and for 5 years and all, and you're not writing it, or you're not actually writing it or making a note or making a kind of a book in a book format and all, so the thing gets subtle down in your brain and goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and you will not be able to relate it in a later parts of your life, or if say for example you have grown older, you won't be able to collect your neurons and all. But if you are in a process of writing that particular thing, you can actually relate it that this is what I have learned, this is what I know and all. Writing in your own words, the information that you receive help to assimilate the consolidated knowledge that is otherwise would soon be forgotten. See, like I have told you in this particular beforehand only, like if you have some kind of knowledge in you, or if you are in a habit of getting lots and lots of knowledge, it is generally presumed that a particular human being, a normal human being, is able to store 40 lakh books at one go in his brain, and a genius is going to incorporate 80 lakhs books and all. Means a genius who is out of 100, you can say 10, or you can say 1, he is able to record 80 lakh books. Can you imagine 80 lakh books in his own brain? And a normal person is able to record 40 lakh books. It's also quite a handsome amount. But when those books are being recorded in your particular mind, are you actually going to write those books? No, they are being recorded as a kind of, say you are going to write an exam, or something like that, or say if you are teaching something like that. But if you write that particular thing in a form of note, and then you in your later stage of life you recollect those notes and all, you actually come across that yes, this is what I have learned, and yeah, this is going to provide a kind of future reference and all. If you write down what is there in your mind each day, you will expect to achieve and how you feel according to this. You need a psychologist to explain you you are and how you realize it. Now, talking about myself, I'm a particular person who is a son of a psychologist. My mother is a psychologist, and uh, I have some kind of taste for psychology and all. So it is actually being treated. It is being. It is. I have learned from her that the moment you write something, say for example, if you are very angry about something, just write it on a piece of paper. Write it and tear it. The moment you tear it, the anger automatically goes away. It's a tested and a proven fact. You can also experiment it. And the thing is that if you are in a habit of writing a particular diary daily, you will be able to relate with your future next move. Say, for example, you write a diary and on the very first page you write that today my day was very great, and I was being admitted and I had taken an admission in a very good institute. Over there, my so and so people are there. This is what I found good. This is what I found bad. So the moment you write the good and the bad things, it is actually going to give you that what is the next step of your next day. Because You are also going to write that I feel and I think that I should behave in this particular fashion. And the next day you do the same thing. So it is deciding your future. It is actually deciding your future. It's a kind of an activity, a human activity. To reach there is some kind of research that suggests that those who write about some happening overcome thoughts more quickly than those who won't. It is generally a kind of a suggested fact that those who write something and those who are in a habit of writing any kind of diary and all, they are in a habit of that they actually try to communicate a thing, and when they communicate a thing, they make a future reference of it. If you write each day, you will have a historical record of your thoughts. Now, it is a very very good habit. You can take it right from today itself. If you're not in the habit of writing, do one thing on a piece of paper. Write something which you have achieved today, and then what you want to achieve the next day, and then and so on. Make it a habit of writing again and again, so that the historical record of yours can be maintained. You can actually see that yes, this is what I need to say, this is what I need to do, and this is what I actually need to achieve and all. University is an important to convey your meaning to a absolute clarity in a way that you will be understood by the reader, regardless of whether or not English is the first language or not. Now, any kind of university, it's not only that the university in which you are studying. Any kind of university is an important factor who is going to give you a preview. Say, for example, if you are studying in BBD, or you're studying in Cambridge, or you're studying in Amity and all. The moment you are in a part and parcel of university, university is a place where you are actually going to learn the real flavor or the real nature, because there it's not like a general institute and all where you are being taken like an admission in a school and all. University is a place, is a kind of is a kind of an ambivalence where you are actually going to learn that how a written communication can be applied. The application based of that particular thing, a particular subject, can be learned only at university. Elements of clear writing. There are various elements of clear writing. Basically, there are particular elements of clear writing that can be discussed in this particular slide of mine. So, for example, while good or effective writing is sometimes open to a reader interpretation, colleague of English and write experts provide common tips which are of great use for writing and all. See, there are various elements of writing. That means it should be clear, it should be logical, it should be sequential and all. But out of those things, what are the real elements that is going to make a writing complete? It involves know your purpose. Writers write because they have something to say. Now, your purpose of writing should be there. See, students, if you are being asked to give a presentation on say any topic like globalization, liberalization, or economic policies of India and all. So, the purpose of writing, the moment you come to the board, and the moment the teacher gave you a pen to write on the board, and the purpose of your writing should be to actually communicate whatever you know about a particular topic, so that the people can be attracted towards you, and people can actually get through you, and they will be able to understand you, and just making your social element. Know your audience. See, if you are not knowing your audience and you are just going on and on, your writing cannot be acceptable, and your writing will never be acceptable by those things, by the people. Say, for example, if you are writing a particular English novel, and you promote in a particular place where the English is not a primary language, so what will happen? People will not buy it. People will actually go away from it. And if you are writing in a kind of a language which is not of an interesting nature, say, for example, often at times, it has been seen that people use your old English, the methodology of old English, or the methodology of such like using those kind of repetitive words and all, which are being used in your old pattern of English. So remember, because remember one thing, that in today's era, the people who are actually communicating, they communicate with your present audience. So your present audience knows that what is good and what is bad. So try to know your audience and then react towards it. Include relevant details. Always remember that when you are writing something, or if you are writing something as a record, remember that it should be relevant. You cannot go a hypothetical thing. Say for example, you cannot say that the person is so strong enough that he was able to lift the whole mountain. No, it's a hypothetical thing. It cannot be practically possible. So you can say that he was so strong to give a tough competition to anyone in the anyone of his own kind. So this is a proper way of actually writing a word or using a word terminology. Write conversationally and proofread effectively. So writing should be such as if you are conversing with someone. Effective writing uses a conversational tone, such as one to a speaking a friend. Instead, come out with the right state of mind, point clearly it in conventional tone, addressing the reader directly. See, you have to first write something which is of conversation. If you are writing something which is not of so conversation and all, and you are conversing it at large, remember this can cause a fatal action. So you actually need to be prioritize your reader. You can actually patronize your reader in a kind of a conversation format, because the moment you say that dear readers, I'm writing this particular thing, so this is not a way to actually engross the readers in your writing. You are actually conversing with if you are conversing with the reader, remember, the reader, as soon as he opens the book, it should be like you're conversing. I think we are all in a particular situation where we need to communicate at large. So using these type of things is going to make a person feel that you are actually communicating thing to him or her. Understanding the purpose. Say, for example, in the previous slide, I gave you know the purpose, and in this, you have to understand the purpose. You know this. You know the purpose. You know very well that you are writing a particular novel, a particular literature in which there are goblins, in which there are fairies. There is a concept of blue moon, the two moons in India, or two moons in some parts of the world, and all, and you know that your audience are children. You know that thing. So the purpose needs to be understood, that the children should not get carried away from the thought. See, J.K. Rowling has written a marvelous piece of Harry Potter and all, but she has kept in mind that the students, or those readers, or the people who are actually reading the book are not getting carried away. They are not getting carried away by that. Oh, there is a concept where the person is sitting on a broom and selling. No, she has written everything. She has written the magical world of your Harry Potter and all. But she has kept in mind that everyone should be engrossed in writing, should not get carried away by it. Clarity and conciseness. So there should be clarity, there should be conciseness. Means everything should be in accordance to time. It should not go beyond that. Organization and structure. See, if you are organizing something and if you are structuring something, it is of utmost importance to the people. Grammatical, spelling, punctuation marks are already being discussed by your in the previous slides and all. Elegance. Elegance is the ability to present clear main points offered through eloquent support descriptive decision and avoid redundancy of using a proper language. See, if you are using a proper language of communication, in your it is going to just give you an elegance of thought that yes, this is what you need to actually do. So depending upon the elegance factor, on depending upon the ability to present an idea in a clear manner. You can actually take a look of it that whatever you are writing is elegant or not. Now there are 10 principles of clarity in writing. There are say, if you can say that on the basis of these 10 principles you are in a position to get the clear picture. Use of short active verbs, be concise, be specific, use familiar words, provide context, watch or misplace phrases, organize your context, make sure that your points are always supportive in your position, pay attention to the commas, tell tell the readers what to do and what not to do. Let us give a quick look at what these principles really need to say now. So, simple words. If the first principle of your clarity in writing says that you need to show, you use those short active verbs. Short active verbs are simple. They add simple words and they are active in nature. Example, it runs like a well-oiled machine. Simple verb, active verb works better than it is operated like well-oiled machine is a more complex word. Or the run like well-oiled machine is a passive voice. So it is being oiled. This is the must. This is a kind of a thing which is going to be going to give you a much clear use of your short verbs. Short verbs means that these are the kind of, say for example, walk, hang, stand, pull, throw, push, jump, hold, sleep, sit, swim, paint, climb. These are the short small verbs. It ran. You can use the word it ran like being oiled continuously. So using simple verbs and simple and short active verbs is going to give you a much more easier tone and much more logical tone than actually using a kind of a complex verbs. Be concise. In the phrase connect together, the word together is redundant. Connect together, the particular word together is redundant. The expression at this point in time can be replaced by the word now. Say for example, you need to be very, very concise in nature. My name is Bob and I need a job. So this is a concise CV. This is actually a concise CV. This is not a kind of a way which you're going to write. I'm not saying that be concise so much that you are not able to get a job and all. But concise, it means that you actually need to write something which is being of logical in nature. Rather than going for a long and lengthy sentence, say for example, the expression at the point in time means, say for example, you're saying that you have to be present in time to a particular student. You are saying that you have to be present in time. You can say you have to be present now, or you have to present that the very moment. These type of words are going to be concise enough and are going to give you the real picture of a particular writing terminology. Be specific. More specific you are, more people are able to understand you. Senior vice president says more than top executives. See, if for example, if you my coffee was just a minute bit too hot this morning, Tom. See, you have to be very, very specific. Tom is a kind of a person who's going to he was bringing the coffee to the particular person, particular boss of his, and he's saying that my coffee was just a little bit too hot this morning, Tom. So just a little bit too hot, it means that it is little bit also and it is hot also. So you have to make the words go in similarity. You can say my coffee was hot than usual, Tom. This can give the clear picture that earlier the coffee was of a particular condition, but today the condition of the coffee was too hot. Using familiar words. See, if you are using your acronyms, your jargons and all, say for example, two people or two ENT specialists are talking and they are saying uh, about a particular patient, and the patient is also sitting in front of them. That I think that the statoacoustic organ of this particular patient is out of order. Now, what is the statoacoustic organ? Because they are basically talking about that the ear of this particular person, the ears of the particular person is not in order. Just by using your statoacoustic organ, this is an organ which is being used for an acoustic and all. You can simply use the word their ears are not working. Say, for example, your debit and credit, which you all use as a part of your management or organizational culture, stress management, and all, and your 360 performance appraisal and all. If you use these terms in front of a BTech student and all, or an MTech student, they won't be able to actually get through. They can get through after a long period of discussion, but if the moment you say my things have been debited or my things have been credited and all, so they are not able to actually relate to it. So you have to be very familiar with that. Provide context. Now, the context in which you, like I have earlier also told you in my previous lecture, that when you are actually writing a letter, you have to give your context, the theme in which you are developing your answer. Watch the misplaced phrases. Uh, for example, having been a member of association the decades, I believe that Mr. Smith deserved to be named emeritus. In the above sentence, does the phrase having been a member of association for decades refer to writer or to Mr. Smith? Now, say for example, you are saying that misplaced modifier endangering participant, she fought them all soon. She fought them all son. Now, basically, she fought them. So who is she? She is the person who has made this tomb, or is she is the person who is actually standing on the tomb? So you have to be very particular about that, whom you are talking about. Organize your text. You need to organize your text in such a manner that everything should go at smooth, because the moment you say from point A to point B and from point B to point C and from C to point D, so what is this A, B, C, D and all? You have to organize yourself. You have to organize the thing at large. Make sure that your points always support your position. See, you are basically writing study results, guarantees, comparisons, observation, your details, your product services and all. So all this thing is going to reflect to what you would need to write and all. If you are writing in a particular sense, it is going to give you a clear picture, otherwise it won't. Pay attention to your commas. Your commas can create really a great difference. A great difference. The moment you use comma, it means that you have to halt. Say for example, you are giving lots and lots of thing, and originally selected students has a different meaning than originally selected students. See, say for example, in this particular sentence only, originally selected students means these students are being originally selected, and originally comma selected means originally means they would have been originally, or they would have been original when they have got selection and all. So their originality, the second sentence or the latter sentence is asking about the originality of the students, and the first sentence is talking about that they are being selected beforehand and all. So using the words by just putting a comma at an appropriate place can give it a real meaning to the particular sentence, or otherwise not. Tell readers what to do. So uh, it is generally said that when you are writing something, you need to make a reader go active. They need to realize that whatever they have been doing, they have been doing it for the very first time, and actually going to relate with it. If you are relating your writing with the reader, they're going to get through with it. Say for example, if you are writing something which is of their own interest, they will be reading it and they will be getting through it all and all. Principles of effective writing. Now the basic principles, there are a few principles or there are few proselytes on the basis of which you are going to say that there are effective principles and all. So some of the basic principles of writing is that these are the basic principles and all. I just told you about these key principles and the factor of it. Sound and rhythm, simplicity, revision, reading, passion, honesty, emphasis, communication, clarity, and brevity. These are the basic principles of it. Let's get a quick look at what these effective principles are. Now, with the help of these principles, are you able to write clearly and give a clear picture to them? Yes, they can. The first principle is grammatically correct, active voices, concise, structure, choice of words, audience, punctuation, proofread, and all. So these, with the basis of this eight principles, you will be able to get through that. These are the things which you need to communicate at large. First, grammatically correct. Remember, and I have and I from the starting of my lecture I have started with grammatically being correct, and I'm just ending also. I'm just on the verge of ending that grammatically correct means that grammatical errors have are the unpardonable sins. They are really a sin. You are really doing a sinful act if you are using the grammatical error and all. uh, have you ever seen building with slanting walls just putting odd angles instead of straight structure? Grammar is just like that. See, this is the kind of the manner in which you have been told that grammar is of utmost use. But have you ever seen some building without window, or a person without a backbone? The backbone of any person is doing the same thing which grammar is doing for the English. It is creating a beautiful. Say, for example, you are writing a beautiful letter, or you are writing a beautiful thing, or beautiful article. But without your grammatical error, and all, without a grammatical error, it is going to give a beautiful structure to it. But the moment you write something which is of grammatical error and all, it is going to create great disaster and all. Active voices make communication clear and direct. No one can forget the cat ate the mouse, and the mouse is eaten by the cat. Example from our school. Yet we usually put rat at the beginning and of our sentence, through which we actually are talking about cat. Doing this confuses the reader. He realizes in the midway that who ate whom. See, the cat ate the mouse means the cat is this is an active manner, the active manner of representing it, and the passive manner is the mouse was being eaten by a cat. So the mouse was being eaten by a cat means you are actually delivering the thought. You're changing the process. You're changing the thing. Don't do that. Concise. Uh, Students, you need to be very particular about your writing, that they need to be concise and all, because if you are not writing a letter which is concise, you are actually negating the effort. Structure, it should be structural, it should be effective, and at the same time following a structure like I have given you, or I have told you in my previous lecture, that there should be a theme, there should be a discussion of it, and then after that introduction of yours you can draw a diagram and all, then explanation of it and all. This is going to create a structure. Choice of words should be simple. Audience should be kept in mind, because if you're not going to keep a particular audience into your mind, you're going to mix the 5-year-old kid with the 18-year-old person, and the 18-year-old person you're going to mix with the 81-year-old age of person. So don't mix it all. Punctuation marks like let's eat grandpa and let's eat grandpa is going to give you a great emphasis upon let's eat grandpa. If let's eat grandpa, it means let's eat grandpa come, let's eat it. And let's eat grandpa means you are actually eating grandpa. No, no, no. This is going to create. This is going to create a great disaster for it. So the punctuation marks are really being giving you a kind of a thing. Don't do this. Proofread. Always look twice. Look twice before you are actually going to reflect it. So that was about your clarity of writing, in which you have given. I have told you about clarity in writing, importance and clarity of writing, elements and clear writing. 10 principles of clarity of writing also I have given. The purpose of effective writing I have given, and I have told you that what manner you should write effectively. So that was all about my presentation of vector writing, and by this particular presentation, we have covered across that what are those proselytes, or what are the methodology, or how you should write, so that the person who is receiving your message should get the real idea of it. Remember, students, if you are following these principles, you can build a reader-writer relationship in reality, and you're going to create a great momentum of yours. To the best of my ability, I always say that to the best of my ability, and I am always on to it that to the best of my ability, I have tried to cover all the topics. But still, if any of the doubts are there in your mind, you can just come to me at my cubicle, and you can just mail me also. You can just communicate me on WhatsApp and all, so that any doubts of yours can be negated and can be solved and all. So till the next lecture, thank you.